The time has finally come to find the answers to all my questions, to embark on a great journey for becoming a god. The Big Truth. Prologue. As the boy slowly falls asleep, he feels his body is frozen and he can't move or wake up. Like he's stuck in something. He tries to say a few words but couldn't say anything. Just then he sees a huge black hole. And then suddenly he is falling in that same black hole he saw. It's all dark and black. And it felt like it has no end and will go on forever. At that moment the boy felt something that this is the end, or this is the real hell that he is going to go. One day or that day has arrived because of his choices and bad actions he has done with his life and of others. He was feeling sudden pain in his whole body, but he couldn't say, couldn't scream, he was just falling. Then slowly and slowly, his eyes shut. Like this is the end. And there's nothing beyond it, and this falling has just no end.
Somewhere but nowhere. The boy's eyes slowly opens and he's on the ground. He couldn't understand anything. That what is going on, he lost his consciousness before. He then slowly remembered what happened. And that black hole, and his mouth goes dry while thinking about it, but then he realizes he's in the middle of a road somewhere that he isn't aware of. And he is not sure how did he ended up here. He then gets up and now he could finally speak, and he said to himself, "Where am I? What in the world was that black hole? Am I dreaming?" Just then he sees something, that ahead there's a very big cemetery out there. And it's quite dark. He sees no cars or anything. So he decides to check the cemetery out to see if there's something there. To know that where is he exactly. So he now slowly walks ahead. He has gained his old strength back. But he felt he has lost some of his powers, but still. He is confident enough, while even if he didn't have any powers at all, he would still not fear to face anybody. But anyways, he slowly walks ahead, and then as he reaches to the gates of the cemetery, he's shocked to see that the gate is open. He thinks something in his mind, but then anyway walks ahead and opens the gates full wide and goes inside. As he goes inside, he gets hit by something from behind. It was fast, and the sound of it was a black crow. He sees it instantly as it passes ahead of him after it hit him. He said to himself, it hurts." Then he continues to walk ahead. Then he sees all the buried people and their names there. As he is looking and reading the names, he hears something. He hears a breath of someone with his super hearing capability, and as he looks back, he sees a thick gray smoke. The smoke slowly fades away. And then he sees a man. He's startled. The man looked old and is wearing a dull yellowish brown clothing with a pair of black pants. And his hair is black. Even though he seemed old, the aura coming from his body is something even the boy could feel. The man is holding a cigar in his hand. And suddenly the man looks up to the boy and both stare at each other. But the boy is looking at this strange man with amazed and confused expression. In a sense, but the man looked into the boy's eyes with normal expression. Like it is him who has called the boy here. Suddenly the silence is broken by the boy. And he said, "Who are you?" Are you the caretaker of this cemetery? Where am I? You got a cell phone? Let me make a phone call. As the boy said this, he saw the man still looking at him with normal expression, and even after hearing the words of the boy. And the man did understand them and the hurried tone of the boy. He starts to smoke his cigar again. This made the boy angry. And then he said, "Are you deaf? Or couldn't understand what I said? Where am I? Do you know? And do you have a cell phone?" As he said, this time the man replied in his divine aura voice. He said,
"So many questions, but only one answer. That is patience."
The boy replied, "What? What are you even saying? Do you even understand what I said? I'm lost. And I don't know where am I, and if you don't have a cell phone, tell me that straight away. And also tell me where am I exactly." The man kept his cigar aside and said,
"You have everything that it takes to become the next. But you still lack two things. First is patience, and secondly mastery over your skills. But you seem to have that persistence that no one has, but you are still heading in the wrong direction."
As words hits to the boy's ears, he didn't understand who is this man. And what is he talking about? But as he heard the thing mastery over skills, he had the feeling that he belonged to a certain cult and maybe the bright side. But then the man speaks again.
"You're still thinking in the wrong direction. I'm only in the side which has the right next candidate. And you are one of them."
As he heard this, the boy is utterly shocked and said in his mind, "This man can even read my mind. Who is he really?" The boy is now extra careful and looking at every move this man makes, and he is prepared for any potential attacks on him. The man then smiled a little and said,
"Answer my questions. Will you, and then I shall set you free."
The boy is shocked, then suddenly he laughs and said, "Free? Free me? Do you even know who am I, and what can I do?" He said this while having an evil smile on his face, but then suddenly he thought that killing this little old man won't do anything. He just felt he didn't want to kill him, and then a thought came to his mind. That just a few questions. I don't think it'd be that hard to answer. Let's just do it, he thought. But then just before he could speak, the old man said,
"It is not going to be that easy for you tonight."
The boy then said, "Yeah, whatever, go ahead and ask me the questions you want to. But not a lot of questions, and after I have answered to all of them, you will give me your cell phone and will also tell me where are we right now." The old man then said,
"All right, I will ask only 3 questions to you. And you have to answer them to me. And take all the time you need to think. And answer these questions, unless you will get nothing you have asked for above."
The boy then thinks in his mind, just 3 questions that will be easy and fast. And even if I can't answer, I will get the cell phone by force. After all, what can an old man like him do to me? For the boy it is no big of a challenge, because he's very smart and intelligent and knowledgeable on a lot of topics at such a young age. So he is also kind of excited to see what will this old man even ask him. Then the old man said after a long pause,
"Okay, here's my first question. What is your goal in life?"
The boy is shocked after hearing this kind of question from the man for a moment. He didn't know what to answer. He never expected that this man would ask such a question, but then he said, This is your first question. I don't even know why am I answering this even. But my goal is to find the answers to all my questions, and don't ask what questions or answers I'm looking for. Because I'm not telling you anything about it, so on to the next question now. After hearing the boy's reply, the man looked onto the boy's face for a moment before smiling. The boy is absolutely frustrated with this kind of reaction from the man. He expected better, but before he could say anything to insult him, the man said,
"All right, on to my next question, which is kind of related, but you are bound to answer. That is, have you found some answers? Or all the answers of these questions you just mentioned?"
The boy is getting even more frustrated with these questions, but replies, "Some answers yes, but not all of them, and the important ones not yet." The man replied,
"I see, but I think you're lying to me. Just answer me honestly about what I asked. Have you really found any answers yet?"
The boy is getting anxious now, and replied, "All right. No. I didn't find anything that I have been looking for. That's what you wanted to hear? You got it now. Now on to the last question, and let's end this." The boy is losing his patience quickly. He's thinking to just finish this man off and get the cell phone out of him quickly. The man smiles and replied,
"I know. After all, how will you find the answers if the question itself is wrong? And answers and the purpose of your life is actually very different than you think."
The boy's eyes widened with anger and a bit of shock about what this man was speaking about. And then he said, "What do you think of yourself? Who are you even? I don't even know you. And why are you asking these kind of questions? And what do you mean by the question is wrong? Do you even know what the question is?" The man replied instantly with a smile on his face,
"How would I know? Really? Do you think I'm all-knowing? All knowledgeable? Really?"
Hearing this, the boy has lost all control over his anger. And he's now full in rage, and now he walks forward to the man if he is just about to just finish him off. But surprisingly, the boy said, looking into the eyes of the man, and said, "I don't know. Who are you? What are you? Neither do I wish to. Just give me your damn cell phone. You understand what am I saying?" His eyes now getting really sparkly and a sweet evil smile coming to his face. Like a threat, he said it to the man. But the man, without even a second thought, replies,
"There's still one question left, and you said you will reply me about all three I asked with honesty. And you did well in the first two, and now it's time for the final question. And you want to back out?"
A smile on his face appeared, like he didn't care about the boy's threat and evil smile. This makes the boy extremely shocked, and he thinks in his mind, "Who is this man really? I have met so many people, but I have never seen a man like him. Is he not afraid at all of me, and why is he smiling? For maybe the first time in my life, some of his questions or words are confusing me, that I don't know what is right and what is not." The boy wanted to just finish him off and get away, but now his curiosity about the man increased a lot, and also that what will be his final question. He has met many people who are powerful, and yet those who control those powerful, but never seen a man like him so much. Or the boy could felt that this man is no ordinary person for some reason, even though his appearance made him look like one. But the boy inner self made him feel that he is not what he is pretending to be. The boy then said, "All right, last question then it should be, and then you will tell me everything about this place and also give the cell phone as promised." The man then nodded in a yes and said,
"Yes, I will, but wait a minute. I'm feeling very thirsty after talking so much. Let me drink some water from the well right up there."
The boy looks around to see where the man pointed him, and he sees a very old water fountain there, and it seems it has dried up due to long aging, and it also appeared to be very old. And the boy then said, "I don't think that well will work. It seems it's too old and dried up, and no water is even flowing, and so much rust there is." Also, I don't even think it's safe to drink, nor any water will come out." And the man, while walking to the water fountain, said,
"This fountain never gets dried up. And don't worry about the rust, I'm not going anywhere so quick if you think so."
But as the man got close to the water fountain, the boy thought in his mind, "Seriously, will this fountain even work? I don't think so, but let's see." The man tries to open the water tap with his hands, but no water comes out of it. And this makes the boy laugh, and he said while laughing, "See, I told you it will not work, and do you not even bring some water with you?" The man then looked at the boy and said in a serious tone but with a smile, he said,
"Don't worry, the water will come."
Then as he just looks back at the water tap, he doesn't even touch it this time. And he stares at the tap for a constant of 10 seconds. Then the water comes out in a flow. The water seemed so fresh, like it is coming from a beautiful lake, so clean it seemed. And seeing this, the boy is shocked, like, how did this happen? Even if it did, how's the water so fresh? He didn't have any answer to this, and he kept looking in a disbelief while the man is drinking the water. Then after the man is done, he closed the tap and walked back and sits on one of the benches and said,
"Well, that was some good fresh water."
The boy couldn't make a word. He is still in disbelief seeing all this, but then the man smiled and said,
"Finally, are you ready for the final question before I set you free?"
The boy then came back to his senses and said, "Yes, I'm ready." For a moment the boy really thought that I just want to leave this place, and like he felt this is some kind of a bad dream. And he wants to wake up from it as quickly as possible. And also that the man is right about freeing him from this, because he kinda feels he's really stuck. The man then said, and for the first time that smile disappearing from his face and his sweet tone becomes to a serious one. And he said,
"So is this all about your dad, you really think?"
The boy now completely in disbelief. And his words couldn't come out of his mouth. He said, "My dad? What and how did?" Before he could say anything further, tears rolled out of his eyes, and then the man said,
"I already know. But I'm telling you that you're looking in the wrong direction, and it's not what you think it is."
Before he could say anything further, the boy shouts with anger and tears coming out, he said, "Stop it. Do you even know what happened? That day, how my life was completely destroyed in a second. And how powerless was I? That time, I couldn't do anything to save him." The boy falls down on the ground with tears coming out of his eyes, and he thinks about what happened that evening, that dark day of his life, which he still carries to this day on his shoulder, blaming himself about it.
The dark past.
That evening the boy is 6 years old and is playing with his toys, and his mother is preparing for the dinner. And just then his dad comes into the hall where the boy is playing, and his dad comes and hugs the boy tightly and gives him kisses. And the boy is totally overwhelmed with this, said, "Dad, it's you." Smiling and enjoying, then his mother came and said,
"Always you two making the house noisy?"
His dad then said, "Nothing I can do. It's beyond my control. How can I stop loving my little baby?"
All right, enough of that. You can do that all day. But if he doesn't get the right nutrition and you don't get your dinner, then it's no good.
His dad then replied, "What happened?"
I forgot to check, we are short of cooking oil. You need to go to the market now to get it, and also get some potatoes.
Then he replied, "All right, darling, that's a no issue, I'll go get it right away." But as he tried to go, the boy stopped him from the back and said with his cute eyes, "Dad, I want to come with you too. Please take me with you." His dad couldn't refuse his cute sparkly eyes, and said, "All right, let's go." Then 30 minutes later, as they are returning to their home, the boy is holding his dad's hand and his dad is holding his hand, both talking and having fun. But just then a white car comes from nowhere at high speed and brakes hard to stop. Total 3 men comes out of the car and they have knife and one has a gun. Instantly one of them said to the boy's dad, "You gotta come with us right now." His dad replied and said, "Clearly I told you I'm done working for you all, then why are you still disturbing me?" Then one of them said, "You know right what a refusal means for you and your family, and I see your little kid, he's so cute." His dad replied, "I don't care, and do you think you all are really capable of taking me by yourself?" With a smile he said. Then one of them said, "Well, honestly, it's all right if you don't come with us, because even if you did, we were going to do this anyway, so let's not waste time, we got clear orders to do it." His dad then replied instantly, "Do what?" Just then that same guy takes out a gun and shoots 2 bullets at his stomach. A roaring sound came. Just then the boy couldn't believe what is happening, and then all of them got back to the car and disappeared quickly. Just then the boy's dad fell to the ground. The boy is standing shocked. He couldn't do anything to protect his dad. His dad then said, "Son, you have to take care of your mother no matter what and pursue your dreams. I may stay or not stay, but I do know that you are the brightest star among all." The boy replied, "Dad, what's happening? This blood, I won't let you." His words felt short, his voice trembling to say the words he wanted to. His dad then smiles and touches the boy's cheeks. Just then, because of the loud noise of gunshot, all the public gather fast to see what is going on, and they quickly call an ambulance. 15 minutes later an ambulance arrives. His dad has lost consciousness. They take him in and ask the boy about his home or mother's phone number.
That day changed everything. The present.
The boy looked at the man with sadness and tears and said, "If you really knew what happened, you would have realized my pain and the grief I'm carrying to this day. About that I was so powerless, I couldn't do anything, I was so useless, and now that I have powers, I will find those who killed my dad and take my revenge no matter what. My dad, he couldn't even see my sister's face. My mother wanted to give my dad a surprise about her pregnancy, but this all happened." Tears coming out of his eyes. Then the man replied after a long silence between them,
Do you really think that this is all that happened that day?
The boy stands up finally, and now even more angry, and he said, "What else happened you want to know? My desire to live died that evening, and my happiness died that evening, and everything. I lost everything that evening. Nothing made me happy after that night, and I was just living for my mother. But once my sister was born, I thought I could live again, but this thing that I couldn't save my dad destroyed me so much. It is so hard to recover from. Who can I tell it to? Do you think so?" I kept crying alone in my room for years. I was all alone fighting it during that time. This kept going on until one day I got an opportunity to join an organization that gave me something and made me happy that I could live again. And I do have a purpose to live for, that is to find my dad's killer. Maybe after that I could find peace again and live my life again as a normal being." Just then the man replied,
You couldn't do anything at that age. And mainly it is not your fault. What could you have done? And why you are crying for nothing?
The boy replied instantly, "Are you insane? I lost my dad. Why won't I cry? And the reason I blame myself is because the day if I had these powers that I have now, I could have saved him maybe. Or that maybe I should also just gotten killed, it would have been done right there. Why did I have to live like this? And that thing kept repeating in my mind like a scene of a movie which I can't stop to play. But it does it, and it hurts me every time I see it. The man replied,
You need someone, my child. And as I said, why are you crying? I already said you're looking at the wrong direction. And your goal is much bigger. You're one of the chosen one. And about your dad that you are crying for. It's not your fault, and he's not even dead.
Hearing this, the boy is extremely shocked. With disbelief, he looks into the man's eyes and said, What are you saying? Alive? Have you gone truly insane, or you're joking with me? The man replied with a smile on his face and said,
If he had really died, where was his body? Did you ever see it? Did that ambulance ever even reach the hospital?
The boy replied, What are you even saying? I don't understand. But after hearing the news of the incident, and after few hours the death news was confirmed by the hospital. My mom was asked to take my dad's body, but my mom was in so much shock that she couldn't make herself up for the next 2 days. Just then, after 2 days, she finally gets the courage and she dials the number. And she gets the news that my dad's body is already burned because of some reason they never told. Surprisingly, but my mom was so mad about this that she sued the hospital for damages in the court.
Do you really think that body they burned was your dad's? Those ashes they gave you were his?
Just then the boy looked again into the man's eyes and said, What are you saying? What nonsense is this?
But just then he saw something. The man's eyes has become red like blood, and the boy starts hearing voices around him. Then as the boy looks around, he sees hands coming out of all graves around him, and making so much noise and even scaring the boy. And just then the man said,
That's enough. 3 questions have been answered perfectly. Now as promised, I shall set you free.
The boy then said, What are you saying, with a trembling voice? But just then he seems to be losing consciousness, and slowly he's seeing that everything is fading to all black. But before he goes back, the man said one thing that the boy saw and heard. The man said,
We will meet soon again.
Then he picks up his cigar again. The boy then sees all faded away and the black darkness that comes with it, and he loses consciousness. Just then we hear